The burger joint owns and operates 6 burger outlets in and around Boston. They have the following corporate budget for next year. So here, Burger Joint, which is in the business of selling burgers, is in the process of planning for their budget for next year. So they have budgeted a revenue of $10 million, fixed cost of $1.7 million, and variable cost of $8.2 million. Now consider yourself as a manager of the company and perform sensitivity analysis to determine the impact of the following changes on the budgeted operating income. So you are a manager of the company and you are trying to find out what will be the impact on the budgeted operating income if there is an increase of 8% in the number of units sold and if there is a decrease of 8% in the number of units sold. So let's find out the impact of these changes on the budgeted operating income. So this is the information given to us. The budgeted revenue for next year is $10 million. The budgeted fixed cost is $1.7 million. And as per the budget, the variable cost is $8.2 million. Now, since we have been asked to find out the impact on the budgeted operating income if the number of units sold changes, let's first find out what is the current budgeted operating income based on these numbers. So the budgeted operating income is nothing but your profits. And we know that profit is equal to your selling price minus cost price, right? So profit is equal to selling price minus cost price. In this case, the selling price is the total revenue because the total revenue is unit selling price multiplied by the number of units sold, and cost price is the addition of fixed cost plus the variable cost. So your budgeted operating income is equal to total revenue minus the total cost, which is equal to total revenue minus fixed cost plus variable cost. So this is equal to $10 million minus fixed cost, which is $1.7 million, plus the variable cost, which is $8.2 million. So this is equal to $10 million minus, and this is 7 plus 2 is 9 and 8 plus 1 is 9. So this is equal to $100,000. So this is the current budgeted operating income based on these numbers. Now first we have to find out what is the impact of increase in the number of units sold by 8%. So increase of 8% in the number of units sold. So when we say there is an increase of 8% in the number of units sold, what does that mean in terms of revenue, fixed cost and variable cost? So revenue, as we said, is equal to your number of units sold multiplied by the unit selling price, which is denoted as small p. So if the number of units sold increases by 8%, that means you'll multiply this number by 1.08. Then the whole number of revenue will increase by 8%. So that will be the impact on the revenue. Fixed cost does not vary by the number of units sold, so that will remain the same. Variable cost is the multiplication of number of units sold multiplied by the unit cost, which is denoted as small c. So here basically what we are assuming is that if there is an increase in the demand of the items by 8%, you'll have to produce the same amount of items in your production facility. And what that means is that you will incur a cost or an additional cost for that 8% to be manufactured, which will increase your variable cost. So what this means is that the number of units sold is increasing by 8%, means that we'll have to multiply this by again 1.08. So what that means is that the whole variable cost is going to increase by 1.08 times. So with this impact on revenue and variable cost, let us find out the new budgeted operating income. So we'll denote it as BOI1, and the formula remains the same. So total revenue minus the fixed cost plus variable cost. Now the total revenue has changed from the original total revenue. So now it becomes 1.08 multiplied by 10 million minus fixed cost is the same. So 1.7 million plus the variable cost is also increasing. So 1.08 multiplied by 8.2 million. So this is equal to 10800,000 minus 1.7 million plus 8,856,000. So this is equal to, let's add these two numbers. So this becomes 10556,000, and let's subtract these two numbers now. So this comes out to $244,000. So if we increase the number of units sold, even though your cost also increases, the total margin or the income eventually increases. And that is because even though you are increasing the revenue and variable cost by the same percentage, the dollar amount or the absolute dollar amount or the margin is actually increasing. So a lot of companies do this, that when they do not want to increase their unit price that they are selling to the customers, they want to increase their volume that they are selling. So they try to find out more and more markets where they can sell their products, which will eventually increase their revenue as well as their variable cost, and will turn out to increase their operating income. Now let's find out what is the impact on the budgeted operating income if the number of units sold decreases by 8%. So second is decrease of 8% in the number of units sold. So in this case, both revenue and variable cost will be impacted. However, because there is a decrease, we will multiply by 0.92. 0.92. So here basically I'm considering 1 as 100%, and if 8% from that is reduced, 0.08 has to be reduced from 1. So now let's find out the new budgeted operating income. So BOI 2 is equal to, again the formula remains the same. The revenue is now 0.92 multiplied by 10 million minus the fixed cost, which is 1.7 million, plus the variable cost, which is now 0.92 multiplied by 8.2 million. So this is equal to 9.2 million minus 1.7 million plus 7544000. So this is equal to 9.2 million minus, so let's add these two numbers. So 3 zeros remain 3 zeros. 4 plus 0 is 4. 4 plus 0 is 4. 5 plus 7 is 12. 1 carryover. 7 plus 1 is 8 plus 1 is 9. So this is equal to minus $44,000. So if we decrease the number of units sold by 8%, then we are incurring a loss of $44,000. So again, the same logic, the revenue is decreasing and at the same time the variable cost is decreasing. However, the revenue is decreasing at a higher rate because the unit selling price is going to be higher than the unit cost. And of course, the fixed cost remains the same. So eventually, we are incurring a loss of $44,000. So now, based on these calculations, $100,000 was the original budgeted operating income. If we increased the number of units sold by 8%, we got the BOI as 244,000. And if we decreased the number of units sold by 8%, we got minus 44,000. So if you look at it, there is a difference of 144,000 in both the cases. So if we increase the number of units sold, there is an increase in the budgeted operating income by 144,000. And if we decrease the number of units sold by 8%, there is a decrease in the budgeted operating income by $144,000.